Okay, you should have your weird Lupos Videt sentences, your junior high Latin help sheet. My book is off to the side. We're going to do sentences 7 and 8 right now. So when we look at these, unus lupus magnus in hortum ambulat. We look for a verb first, ambulat, ambulare, to walk. So we know this, I think from hopefully 5 and 6, we're familiar with that verb, and also just the ending of T would be our third person, singular, present tense. Okay, when we have third person, we're probably going to have a subject, so something in nominative case. So if I switch that over here, I have 3 words at the front that I did only one parsing for, which makes it a little easier for you to realize these are all going to be in the same case, number, gender, case, number, gender, which tells us that they all go together. Lupus is the wolf, so that's going to be a singular nominative. Lupus is masculine, so it's nominative, it's singular, one wolf. And on here, we can look at that. Us is singular nominative of the second declension, which is usually masculine. This is because lupus is our noun. One lupus, one wolf, has to match. 1, 2, and 3 are numbers that have to be declined. Magnus, large, is an adjective that describes lupus, so it needs to match as well. So all 3 of those words are going to have the same parsing. So we only did one box. In is one of those tricky ones. We need to know if it's an accusative or ablative, and we can't look at the chart because it could be either. So we have to look at our noun that follows it, our object of the preposition. Is going to be an accusative ending, accusative singular. So we know that this preposition is being used in the accusative case, which is why hortum is in accusative. We said it was singular. And if it's on this chart, it's going to be masculine, or it could be neuter. Let me check. It's masculine. Okay. So if you're not sure of the gender, you'd have to look it up in your glossary. Let's just do that to get practice. So I see hortus. Now that's a different ending because they're not giving me all of the declensions of it, but hortus, horti is masculine. So I can always look that up and see if I'm not 100% sure, because is on both charts for accusative singular. So I'd have to either use my memory or use the glossary. Okay, so we've done all the parsing. So we can go back. One, wolf, large. In, when it's used with accusative, is more of, we did hopefully write that on your chart. In with accusative is into or onto, so it's like moving. So into the garden, walks. So this is present tense. So one, and we wouldn't say wolf large, we'd say large wolf. Into the garden, walks. So we'd say walks into the garden. Okay, on this, it was accusative because we saw the case. Down here, we're going to see where it could be ablative. So we'll get there in just a second. Sentence number 8, vir unum lupum magnum. So we are very familiar with that. But notice that this unum, lupum, magnum, same words, but they have different endings, okay? So this is which tells us this is not the subject of the sentence anymore. In horto videt. So let's start with our verb, and then we'll go through all of that. So videt, same, just T ending on our verb. It tells us it's the same parsing, third person, singular present. Of course, the verb is different, so videt means to see. So he sees, she sees. Okay, we're probably going to have a subject. So let's come back here. We're, that's one of the ones that's fairly new or maybe not even learned yet completely. If you run across a word you haven't learned yet, you can always look in your glossary. We're, weary, masculine, it means man. So, this is one we'd actually have to use a different chart. Oh, it's down here. Okay, so remember the X just means blank. I actually prefer to say blank. That means they just gave us, in that case, we saw the word we're. It just means that's the word we use. So, nominative, singular. It was masculine, obviously. Now, since this is the subject, the man sees, we're going to have something that he sees, which would in this case be a direct object, which would be in accusative case. Accusative is the direct object. So when we have our accusative ending it could be masculine or it could be neuter. We know wolf is masculine, so that's what it's going to be. Same words, one large wolf, but in this case, it's the accusative case. So it's telling us he saw one large wolf, not one large wolf was the subject of the sentence. Okay, so it was accusative, it's singular, still masculine. Then we also have the contrast here, in. But we have to look at the ending because in could be either one. Here it was accusative, but this is not an accusative ending. Horto was masculine. O is going to be an ablative ending. So this is ablative because this is an ablative ending. Oh, actually, this tells us what this is, and this is how we find out what that is. It goes back and forth. So because we see this ending in the Latin, we know it's an ablative case, so that means in is being used with the ablative, which changes the meaning from into just in, like he was in the garden, not walking into the garden. So this is also just singular, and obviously horto, garden, is still masculine, singular, masculine. Okay, so we have, sorry, I'm trying to make that a little straighter for you. We have man, one wolf large, in the garden, he sees. So we need to change that into more English. The man, then we use, in English we do the verb, sees. One large wolf, that's our direct object with the adjectives. One large wolf. And in the garden, instead of into the garden, that would be accusative. So with ablative, it's just in the garden, which makes sense. Okay, that's all for sentences 7 and 8.